And yet again, another season of New York Giants football has wrapped up, and Tony D'Amato's G-Men are without the playoff appearance once again. A better season than his first year, where they went 8-7-1, but Tony D'Amato finished 10-6 and missed the playoffs, essentially just like the 2013-2014 Arizona Cardinals in the NFC West. That was that extremely tough division that year. But we just didn't luck out, and we did not make the playoffs under Tony D'Amato. And now in Season 2, we had a lot of storylines. We had the new quarterback. Eli Manning was out. He digressed. He was sitting in free agency. He's still sitting in free agency.
You're not some flash-in-the-pan corner or receiver or even Julian Washington. You're a goddamn quarterback! You know what that means? It's the top spot, kid. It's the guy who takes the fall. It's the guy everybody's looking at first, the leader of a team, who will support you when they understand you, who will break their ribs and their noses and their necks for you because they believe.
And we drafted young 20-year-old Don Chapman, the mobile quarterback out of the Alabama Crimson Tide, who did not get thrown under the bus right off the gates. He did not get the starting job right off the gates. I played him in preseason a lot. He was looking kind of shaky in preseason, and then Nassib had a bad game, I think week 3 or 4 against the Bucks, and I was like, let's throw Chapman in there, see what he does. He started a few weeks in a row. Didn't really like what I saw. We would win some games, but we would lose some games, and we didn't really win because of him when we did win. So I benched him after that. Nassib came back in. Nassib played well the first game, but in the second game it was back to just being regular Nassib. And then he also got injured one game, and Don Chapman had to come in the game. And Don Chapman, that second starting stint he had the last 3 games of the season, he played well. He played really well. He actually led us to 2 fourth-quarter comebacks that led us on. There were 2 huge parts to our 3-game winning streak to end the season at 10-6. So let's take a look at Don Chapman's stats. A 69.2 QBR, 1,884 yards in the air, 10 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and then 3 touchdowns with 222 yards on 26 rushes on the ground. But let's look at the air stats. And that's the fact that he does have 13 interceptions compared to his 10 touchdowns. So that is more than the 10 touchdowns. But what you got to realize about that is, one, we don't have a pass-first offense. We have a run-the-ball, smash-mouth offense. That's what we do. We run the ball down the field. That's how we get the ball down the field. And then Chapman makes plays when he needs to. Now, eventually, when our running backs start to decline, or we don't really have the greatest of running backs anymore, then Chapman can kind of go into his taking over the offense of the pass-first thing. But as of right now, where he's still developing, he's still a young quarterback. I mean, what you really gotta understand is we drafted this guy as a 20-year-old quarterback. That's extremely young to be a starting quarterback at 20 years old. That's insane. Just imagine that. I'm almost 20. I could not imagine starting in the NFL. And another thing is that everything anybody does in the NFL anymore is under scrutiny, especially the first-round rookies. If they don't succeed, the media is on them all the time. Every day, every second of every day, the media is on their asses, riding them. Just imagine if Peyton Manning played his rookie season in today's day and age. Peyton Manning went 3-13 and threw 28 interceptions his rookie season. Just imagine what the media would do to that guy if that happened in today's day and age. It could have broken the guy. You could never know it. You can seriously ask a question, what would have happened if Peyton Manning started his career in this day and age? But that's a debate for a different time. This is the Giants' offseason. So under the rushing stats, we have Rashad Jennings with his 240 carries, 987 yards, only 3 touchdowns, and 5 fumbles. Now that's definitely a decrease from his touchdowns the first season under D'Amato. He's kind of aging up there. He hit 30 years old, and you all know that when a running back hits 30 years old, he kind of digresses, and he's not really the same running back anymore. He loses a step, he just can't run as well. It's just how it is. I mean, look at Sean Alexander. Was that guy hit 30 years old? He's gone. His skill, nowhere there. And that's pretty much what's happening to Jennings. So that's why we drafted Hightower. Hightower's come in, and he had 67 carries for 265 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground before touring his pectoral a few games away from the last game of the season. So he did miss the last couple of games. He probably could have gotten a few more touchdowns, a few more yards, but all in all, it was definitely a productive rookie season for him, especially considering we had like 3 running backs we were constantly switching through. And then in the receiving game, we had Randall Cobb, who had 49 receptions, 656 yards, and 7 touchdowns. 7 going on the Cobbs. Wes Welker had 46 receptions, 699 yards, and 2 touchdowns, while Victor Cruz had 34 receptions, 566 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Definitely productive numbers, not the best, but not the worst either, especially when you have 3 main guys who are really, they could stand out as the best receivers on a team, and you have 3 of those guys. Now let's look at the defense. We've got Lance Briggs and John Beeson led the team in tackles. Briggs had 75, Beeson had 74, and Beeson also had 7 sacks. Speaking of the sack category, we had the NFL sack leader in Bernard Anderson, 23 sacks, followed by Cullen Jenkins with 18, Jason Pierre-Paul with 15, John Hankins with 11, and Hankins is being groomed to eventually be the predecessor of Cullen Jenkins, who just continues to put up these sack numbers for us. So before we talk about the free agent signings, the draft, and who we re-sign, let's look and give a round of applause for the Denver Broncos, who beat the San Francisco 49ers, who technically went undefeated in the regular season. They went 15-0-1, meaning the only game they did not win, they tied. I don't know exactly what game that was. I would have to go back and look. But what matters is that they had a dominant regular season. They pretty much dominated everyone through the playoffs, and then they didn't come out on top. That was Peyton Manning's Denver Broncos. When the re-signed players phase came around, I pretty much re-signed everyone important except for Lance Briggs and Brandon Myers, and I wouldn't really call Brandon Myers important. He was just a guy who I didn't have a tight end after Donnell left, so I just kind of signed to be like a stopgap until we get someone who's actually a replacement. And he didn't really produce for us. He got like 1 touchdown all season, which I believe was the very first week of the regular season, and he didn't really do anything. He was just kind of there. I guess he had a few decent blocks. He wasn't really a guy who contributed to the team. Lance Briggs did contribute, but he's getting up there in age. I didn't want to bring a guy back who's just going to be getting even older. And as you can see right here, we did sign Randall Cobb. And even though Cullen Jenkins is getting up there in age, I brought him back. Because, I mean, you just got to bring the guy back. He had all those sacks the first season under D'Amato. He had the sacks the second season. He just keeps producing. He stops the run. He stops the pass. The guy is an absolute monster, and there's no reason not to bring him back. So welcome back, Cullen Jenkins, for 1 year. Then Bernard Anderson wanted some ridiculous contract because of, well, can you really blame him? And I didn't really want to waste the money on him this season, so I decided to franchise tag him. Because believe it or not, that's actually cheaper than the contract he wanted. And then when it came around to getting into free agency, I was like, I want to make some moves, prove this team a bit, and in order to do that, I feel like I had to release Wes Welker to open up some cap room. He was getting paid a lot of money. He's 35 years old, and really when it comes down to it, him and Randall Cobb are pretty much the same exact player. One's just younger, and that happens to be Randall Cobb, and it's just business Wes Welker. We liked you when you were here, but your time with the Giants is up. But then when we came down to the free agency, there were some decent names that we wanted. The first one being Donta Hightower, the former Alabama Crimson Tide linebacker, who we signed to be an outside linebacker for us. He wanted about 5 years, $18.3 million. I gave him 5 years, $18.6 million, and he wanted a $5.9 million signing bonus, and I gave him a $6 million signing bonus. Needless to say, he did end up accepting, and Donta Hightower is a New York Football Giant. Then Stevie Brown is our free safety, but he's kind of struggled with confidence, and sometimes I end up starting people over him because he didn't really play the greatest. So I wanted to get a guy who could actually perform in that free safety spot if Stevie Brown doesn't play well, and that would be this second-year guy, Carlos Henry, who was a rookie in Season 2. And now we've got Robbie Gould to replace Tavecchio, because as you guys know, mid-season we did release Josh Brown because he just wasn't getting it done. Picked up Tavecchio. He was decent, but I mean, the guy's really young. He doesn't have the best awareness, not the best accuracy, so we signed Robbie Gould. very decent replacement. Then when it comes down to here, we've got Jeremy Zuda. We did not re-sign J.D. Walton, our former starting center. So what we did here was we got Jeremy Zuda, the former Rutgers Scarlet Knight, who is actually from Edison, New Jersey, J.P. Stevens High School in Edison, New Jersey, and he went to Rutgers. So, gotta show some love for the Jersey guys, and then even more Jersey guys. Mohamed Sanu, baby. He's from New Brunswick, New Jersey, went to Rutgers, went to South Brunswick High School. The guy's Jersey-born, he's Jersey-raised. And I'm sorry, Bengals fans, but Mohamed Sanu's back where he belongs in New Jersey, playing for the New York Football Giants to fill that tall wide receiver role that we didn't really have anymore because we had short guys like Welker and Cobb. But Mohamed Sanu is here to fill that. And then Jeremy Zuda is not even going to be our starting center. That's going to be 85 overall, former Cal Golden Bear, Max Unger. Very, very solid center. He won a decent contract, not too expensive, and I could afford it, so I gave him the money. And Max Unger, you got paid, and welcome to the team. And then the NFL draft came around, and the main thing to keep in mind about this particular draft is that I didn't draft anyone to be immediate fills at any position because I don't need immediate fills at any position. My guys are solid. I don't have any immediate just opening, like glaring openings on the roster. We're like, yeah, we need to fill that with a rookie, get him in there. No, we don't have any of those, unlike last season where it was like Eli Manning and I wanted to get a quarterback, so I got Chapman, and now I feel like we're on the up and up on really getting a playoff team going together, so I really didn't feel like we needed to get a rookie in there to start. So these guys that I drafted, first round being Nicholas Schofield, right outside linebacker from the Florida Gators, round 1, pick 20. Second round, we traded away our second round pick to the St. Louis Rams for their third and their fourth round picks. So the first pick of the third round, we got Lacey Nix, a free safety from the Texas Longhorns, who is our running back Kean Hightower's former college teammate. He was round 3, pick 1. Then in round 3, pick 20, which is our pick, we decided to go with the trend of getting even more Rutgers players from New Jersey. And we got Carrington Milton, a very fast receiver from Rutgers. He was round 3, pick 20 for us. Then we go to round 4, pick 1. Elgin Boswell, a running back, speed back out of Northern Iowa. Not sure he's actually going to make the team. I just kind of drafted him because I figured it'd be interesting to get some competition going on between him and Andre Williams in the preseason. If he doesn't play well, he's not going to stay. If he does, he will. It's just up to Andre Williams or him. It's really going to be competition in the preseason. He was the first pick of the fourth round. Then, fourth round, 20th pick, we got a strong safety. Trevance Barkley, the military man from the Navy. The Naval Academy, the Navy midshipman. He was round 4, pick 20. Then we go to round 5, pick 20. Sal Sturdivant, a giant offensive lineman. I believe he's like 6'7", 350 pounds. Like, he is ridiculously big. And he's a right guard from Boston College. Pretty big to be a right guard, but he's definitely there. He's got a backup right guard spot now. And then last season we had some right tackle problems with Justin Poog, so I just signed a guy to kind of back him up. Or I drafted a guy, I should say, being Jameis Cunningham from Mississippi State in the 6th round. Then, in the 7th round, we got a guy to be our third-string tight end, being, I probably am not pronouncing this right, Vetuitonga Puamau. Whatever his name is what we drafted. He's from Texas A&M. He's like a 6'7", 260-pound tight end. He's a solid guy to have. Then the preseason came around, and every year when you get to the preseason, there's guys who manage to some way slip their way through the cracks in the free agency where nobody signed them or they just didn't sign. One of them being this guy right here, Garrett Graham. He's going to be a starting tight end. Once again, a stopgap, 1 year, $1 million. Interesting fact about Garrett Graham, he is from New Jersey. He went to the Wisconsin Badgers for college, but he is from Brick, New Jersey. Went to Brick Memorial High School, and he is our starting tight end. Welcome back to New Jersey. Then we went and signed Paul Warlow, former Atlanta Falcon, 86 overall. He's going to be a middle linebacker. We're going to shift John Beeson outside linebacker, and Donta Hightower being the other one. Our new nickel corner is now Brandon Boykin, the former Georgia Bulldog and a former Philadelphia Eagle. So welcome to the team, Brandon Boykin. You're going to fit right in New Jersey. And that's pretty much going to wrap things up for this Season 2 off-season video. I feel like we really improved this team. Definitely improved our chances of even going into the playoffs and making it far, I feel like, as long as these guys play their potential, especially Chapman. This team lives and they die by the arm of Don Chapman. Especially this year, as Rashad Jennings is going to be slowly, probably not slowly, quickly digressing, and we've got Niall Davis and Kean Hightower ready to jump in there and be the main two backs. Hopefully Hightower, maybe Davis will have to have a role, you never know. But I feel like our front seven with Warlow, Hightower, Beeson, and then Anderson, Pierre-Paul, Hankins, and Jenkins is just solid. That is a very good front seven. Corners are pretty good too, with now Brandon Boykin being there, and then Ontrell Roll and Stevie Brown. Stevie Brown's the kind of weak point of the defense, but it's definitely not a weak point that anybody has to worry about. And with that being said, that'll wrap things up for this Season 2 off-season video. I've been your host, JerseyBorn, and I'm saying goodbye, and we'll see you for Season 3, ladies and gentlemen.
I wanna wake up where you